Sure. It's been a while since we've all been in the same room. The last time I think was back in April, and we've gone through many positive changes as a program and have addressed some needs, and we've grown in critical areas. And so now it's time to actually get to work and put a product on the floor. So we just appreciate this opportunity to kind of brag a little bit about the progress that we've made in terms of recruiting. We were able to sign 4 players this spring for a total of 6 newcomers. We have a walk-on, Courtney Perry, who will be on the floor for us this year, in addition to Heather Bachman, who is a signee from last November. So she signed up to play with the former coaches. And then we were able to sign 4 players of impact this spring between April and June, which was when we started summer school. So we've got some new faces. We addressed some critical needs from a recruiting perspective. We were able to sign 2 point guards, which was a major blind spot for us last season, and we also added some very good depth on the wings. The 3 captains that are sitting with me here logged far too many minutes last year. We had 5 players average 33 minutes or more last season, and in order to be a successful team at the top level of Division I, that's just too few people playing too many minutes. So we've addressed some depth issues that were challenges for us last year, and we've just been working hard. From an investment standpoint, I couldn't be more pleased and grateful with the investment that our team has made in learning a new system and investing in each other. And so we've been able to focus on basketball, which as a first-time head coach is a major bonus. You know, it sounds trite, but the truth is oftentimes when you move into a new program, you're managing behavioral issues or issues of academic disinterest, and we just don't have that. And so I'm really grateful to our 4 seniors, these 3 tri-captains, for creating and establishing and maintaining a culture where we're not worrying about those things, where we're able to truly focus on team building and basketball development.
Coach, you're coming to replace the winningest coach in MAC history, Bob Lindsay. Is there a little pressure this season?
There's no pressure. We're just going to do the very best we can for these 4 seniors to finish their careers the proper way, which is in a positive light. And we're just all excited to work together to have an opportunity to uphold the Kent State women's basketball tradition. It's Trisha's birthday, by the way.
Trisha, then, happy birthday. Thank you. Speak to what Coach has been talking about and just how hard it is to go from the transition to one in general, but then with one that kind of came the way it did and with what was left last year and how you're trying to mold all this together and how that's come along so far in the last couple months.
Yeah, I think with the core group that we had coming back from last year, the coaches have done a great job bringing in new players that really mesh well, and the chemistry, you can start to see it on the court in practice. And I think that we've just all been trying to focus on buying into Coach O'Banion's system. And learning a new system is definitely tough, but we can see the strides that we're making every day in practice. So it's definitely going to be a positive year for the program.
What is the new system, if you will?
It's a much more fast-paced game, which is something that a lot of us aren't used to from the way we played last year. So it's more fast-paced, get up and play defense full court. So it's a big change for a lot of people on our team.
Glad to hear her say she's cutting in some of those minutes, huh?
Yeah.
That question's a good question. Lead into a question we have from the internet. A fan from Cleveland, Mike Rush, asks, what's the biggest challenge you face as you implement your new system to a team that hasn't played it?
Sure, I'll answer it, and then I'll ask Tamzin to kind of step in from a player's perspective. But the biggest challenge is the change in pace. We're practicing the way that we're going to play, so there's not dead time in between drills. Everything is on the clock because we don't want to put our players in a position to expect them to function at a fast pace in a game when we haven't trained that way in practices. Again, we're not working with a group of young ladies that are unwilling, so that's not a challenge. It's just getting us accustomed to maximizing every minute of every minute of practice. But that's the biggest thing. Again, the depth is really going to help us play that way sooner than I might have expected, to be honest with you, when I showed up in April. Because our coaches got after it and signed some quality players, we're able to play 94 feet for longer periods of time sooner.
How tough was it on you 3 to play so many minutes last year? Now this year it seems like you guys aren't going to play that many minutes. How much is that going to improve your game and improve the team overall?
I think it'll improve our team a lot. You actually be able to play harder for a period of time. Knowing unconsciously playing 30 or so minutes, you actually don't play as hard as you can for as long as you can. With having to play less minutes, you know you can get up and give solid 4 or 5 minute spans and go as hard as you can and give 100%, which is all something we can do.
And we've implemented that in practice too. Like we'll go at drills for 4 or 5 minutes hard before you get a sub. So we get used to playing as hard as we can for those short bursts of time.
Yeah. Practice has been very high tempo and like little exercises at a time. So our attention span is to concentrate on that drill while that's happening and not thinking about the next hour or so of practice that's coming up.
Coach, as you know, it's a results-oriented business, no matter what sport it is. Have you set a win goal or an overall goal for the season in general?
We really haven't, quite honestly, Ty. I'm primarily focused on the experience for our players this year. I think that the way that we're playing, many of our players will have an opportunity to contribute on the floor, so that makes for a positive experience for more of our locker room. And I think that the way that we're playing with the mentality that we're trying to train, that will help us be successful from a win total standpoint. But we really are focusing more on the process and the experience because, again, the promise that we made our seniors when we sat in the locker room was that they have every right to have a great senior year because they've invested the most in this program. So we're focusing on working as hard as we can to give them a great send-off.
You have like a number-wise for rotation? Obviously the way you're going to play, you want to play as many people as possible.
You know, it's interesting. If we're playing at the tempo that we aspire to play with, we should probably see a rotation of 9 to 10 women in a game, if not more. But again, to Diamond's point, there really isn't going to be a way, if we're playing our style, for a person to play 33 minutes a game, because we're going to keep the tempo regardless of whether we're tired or not. So now it becomes a matter of being able to be effective when we're tired, still playing up tempo. And that will require more than 5 players to come in and contribute.
Tamzin, you know, at times last year you played great, at times, you know, you weren't at the top of your game. What have you been working on to get more consistent this year?
I've been working a lot on being more of an all-around player. I do have a height advantage on most guard position, and I will also have like a speed advantage on if I have a post guarding me. So I've been kind of balancing out working with the post players and also working with the guards to balance out my game overall.
Is there an aspect of the team that's surprisingly good? Shooting, whatever, maybe rebounding, anything like that, but it's a little better than you thought?
You're talking skill-wise?
Yeah.
I will say from an intangible standpoint, our team chemistry was one of the big sells during the interview process, and that has been nothing less than outstanding. I'm really excited for our team to have relationships with each other that are so strong and meaningful, and that will help us on the court. From a skill standpoint, it's hard to say. You know, someone was asking me who or what's been a big surprise. Everything is a surprise, really, because we're putting our players in positions where they're uncomfortable. And so, you know, we find that the biggest growth spurts happen outside of our comfort zones. And so right now, you know, we're doing a lot of things well because they're new. Are we playing up tempo well? Yeah, we're playing up tempo well. We just have to take care of the ball better when we're playing up tempo. So it's hard to pinpoint one specific aspect right now.
You delve a little bit more into that idea of wanting the senior group to be able to enjoy this experience while still building. It's almost like you're trying to do 2 things at the same time. And I'm thinking what you're trying to say is that maybe other regimes don't do that. They just say, I'm in, here's my system, let's go, as opposed to trying to balance that. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
You know, I don't know, Stephanie. I don't know what other regimes do. I just know that one of the things that was sold to me from other coaches when I was considering coming here was how hard this team plays, number one, and number two, the team chemistry, and that became evident once I got here. And so to me, it points to the leadership in the locker room. If the team chemistry is that strong, I want to acknowledge that. I want to recognize that. And quite honestly, it then sets the standard for our underclassmen to understand what the expectations are when it's their turn to lead. And from a cultural standpoint, you know, we can recruit great basketball players, but we also want great human beings. And so I think this senior class has made an investment from day one in this staff. And let's be honest, they didn't sign up, these 4 seniors, these 3 tri-captains, they didn't sign up to flash forward. They didn't sign up to play fast. They didn't sign up for that. And so I've just appreciated, and our staff has appreciated the fact that they've bought in. When you look at how a recruiting cycle traditionally works, the seniors aren't usually intimately involved in recruiting, just because they're getting ready for the next phases of their lives. But Trisha and Diamond and Leslie Schaefer, they were here all summer long. And so when they were here this summer, these were the 3 players that the 4 signees, they were recruited by. And so for them to make that investment in our recruiting over the summer, going into their senior year, that established a standard from our staff's perspective that we wanted to hold this class up, because they jumped in with both feet from day one.
Last year was pretty rough in the MAC, bouncing the first round of the MAC tournament as well. What's going to take for this year's team to be able to compete for a MAC championship?
I think, oh, go ahead.
Okay. I think just buying into the program and chasing great, which is what Coach Danny has been trying to implement since she first got here. And I think since the start of the season, preseason, conditioning, working out with Bob, we were all in it together, and it seems like the standard has been raised within our team. Everyone's been working harder, pushing each other, competing more. There's definitely more competition in practice right now, and so I think that we're playing at a higher level right now, and it's only October, so I think that's really going to help us in the MAC.
The other thing, people are asking me, well, who's supposed to be good this year in the MAC? Well, I don't know, because there of 12 teams in the MAC, 6 are under new leadership. So it's anybody's guess. I would say Toledo probably, in my mind, is positioned to be successful, because they return the bulk of their scoring. They get their point guard back from injury. But after that, I don't know. And I like it like that, because then it gives us an opportunity to throw our hats in the ring and surprise some people or not. I mean, I don't know if we're going to surprise anybody, because they don't know what they're working with either. So it's a great year to be a first-time program in the MAC.
Coach, you've been a head coach now for a while, but November 10th will be the first time. Just call a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be close to where you play, Amherst,
Mm-hmm.
and far from Boston. Can you imagine just what that'll be like? Will you allow yourself a little good nervous anticipation? Or?
Sure, I'm sure it'll be a lot of everything. To be honest with you, Dave, I'm like that every day coming into the office. I mean, this is just, this is a dream come true for me. And so I'm just doing my best to maximize it and to make it a great experience for everybody, not just our players, our coaching staff. Everybody who's associated with our program right now took some degree of a leap of faith. And so we're just trying to do the best we can every minute we can. So will November 10th be any different from today? No, not really, because that will just be another step in this dream that we're living.
Tamzin, what are some of the differences in this offseason compared to the previous offseasons you've had here at Kent State?
Well, for me particularly, it was different because I actually didn't play this summer with my national team. I made the choice to come here and work out with the team, so I did the Summer 3 session. It was different because also since I've been at Kent, this was the first time that the whole team was here in the off-season, working together, working out with our strength coach, Bob Lemieux, and also we were playing open gym and we were getting to know each other. So I think when we came into the preseason, we'd already taken a big step forward as a team.
Was that a difficult decision to make, to not be with the national team?
It wasn't. It was because I didn't get to see my family as much. But then at the same time, this year was the year of the Olympics, so there wasn't much going on for the youth programs either. And I didn't get selected for the senior Olympic team or for the tryouts. So for me, it was pretty much obvious that I didn't want to do nothing the whole summer. So I just decided that I was going to come here earlier and work out with the team.